Hello everyone, my name is David from DavidJustice16 and welcome back to another video. I guess you can say on Geometry Dash, it's not really G-Dash, but it's going to be something a little different than what I normally do. I'm going to be doing a Geometry Dash tier list, hopefully that you can see on screen right now. And the way I'm going to be doing this is I'm going to be rating all the original Robtop levels, as you can see there, all in a row, starting with Stereo Madness to Finger Dash. These updates are from, the original launch of the game in April of 2013 to 2.1, which was released, I think, in 2017. So these levels came out a long time ago, and I'm going to be ranking these on how much I enjoyed them, which a lot of them I didn't enjoy, but watching them, playing them again, I had different experiences, and this is just my opinion, so please don't take a piss out of me at the comments if you don't like it. Sorry, just had to get that out there. But either way, I hope you enjoyed this video, and also I'll be ranking this on gameplay as well, because visually, aesthetic, they all look very similar. After you get to, like, Deadlocked and Finger Dash, they start looking a little different. Theory of Everything 2, Geometrical Dominator also look really cool, but starting out with Stereo Madness, they kind of start out a little bit basic, so I'm not going to be really judging these on aesthetics, more about how they feel and how they look. So that's the way we're going to be doing it. Now, I think I'm going to start with, I think, the good old start Stereo Madness. Now, the first time I went through this, it took me about 1,000 attempts in normal mode to be able to do this level. I got really irritated doing it, so I'm not exactly sure where to put it. So I'm not actually going to put it where I just put it, but it's definitely not S or A tier because there are parts about it that I didn't really enjoy. It's definitely not F or E tier, though, because I didn't hate it. I really enjoyed playing Stereo Madness. I'd say it's a solid, maybe a C, because the triple spikes are kind of annoying in the level. And the gameplay feels a little bit open, like too basic. Back on Track, I feel like did a little bit better on this, but there were some points because I felt like the last stretch of Stereo Madness was a little bit harder. So I think I'll give it a C, because the gameplay's not crisp and amazing, like some other Robtop levels, but I think it's still good though, so C is like right up an alley. It's not horrible, but it's not like amazing, right? S and A are like great, so let's take a jump to this one. Yeah, Clutter Funk. Now, it's either, pretty much for me, it's either you hate this level, so like it's going to end up in D or D to F tier, or it's going to be like S and B tier. Overall, for me, I'm not too sure where I'd put it. Like, I did like this level a lot. It's really intense at the end, and it has a really substantial, consistent difficulty. There are a couple parts that are a little harder than others, but overall, I feel like this level is really well done. So I'm saying this one is potentially a B or even an A. I think it's definitely better than Stereo Madness. Like, I feel like the gameplay is a little bit more consistent. I'm not saying Stereo Madness isn't consistent, but I feel like the difficulty is either just too easy or goes a little bit harder after you get to, like, the more difficult parts at, like, 80%. But Clutter Funk, like, the intense Q part wasn't that hard. It's just, you get really, really intense, like, at that part. So that's kind of where my feelings are. So I don't know if I can quite give it A, because it's definitely not my favorite Robtop level, but I do think it's good. So I'd say B tier. I guess we'll do this one next. The first demon level, Club Step. Now, Club Step is still fun. It's definitely above E tier. I say that kind of loosely because it's definitely not S for me. The gameplay is fun, but there are some parts that are very difficult in comparison to the rest of the level, and that creates it kind of inconsistent. Like, the demon for me is, I find it harder than Theory of Everything 2 version 2. Or, no, Theory of Everything 2, not version 2. But I do think Club Step is a good Robtop level. I don't think it's bad. I just feel like it's a little bit inconsistent. And I think Clutter Funk's really consistent, so I guess Club Step C tier. But the thing with Club Step is that the fun parts of Club Step, in my opinion, were more fun than Clutter Funk. So I feel like it could be in B tier, but I don't know if I'm going to put it in C or B. Just a reminder, these are my opinions, so don't hate on me, please. Overall, I think for me, my experience through Club Step was very frustrating. But when I beat it, it was a very, very rewarding experience. So I think Club Step, just because the feeling when you beat it is one of the best, I think that brings it up to B tier, in my honest opinion. And then I think we should go to, I've had some good ones on here so far, so maybe we should just go to one I didn't really enjoy. For me, this is where people are gonna kick me. I don't know if I want to put like these bad ones. Sorry about the noise, by the way. I hope I put something in there. I'm gonna do Dry Out next. I didn't hate Dry Out, but I didn't necessarily love it. Now, the experience through Dry Out was annoying for me. I didn't really care for this experience as much. but I wouldn't necessarily say this is bottom tier. I think it's not as good as Stereo Madness. But to be honest, the difficulty is a little bit more consistent. But there are just parts about it that were annoying, like the upside down part I thought was more inconsistent than base after base. But I still think this level was good. So I think it is on par with Stereo Madness because it doesn't feel too easy, right? So I feel like Dryout's also a C tier. And plus, all the Robtop levels were great. So it's kind of like, even if it's an E or D tier, it doesn't mean it's bad. I mean, F tier probably means it's bad, but I feel like the only one of these that people are going to disagree with is Clutter Funk, because I feel like everybody hated that level. But, you know, that's okay. People have different opinions. But I guess let's rank... I've done 2 easy levels and 2, like, of the harder ones, so let's do one, like, in the middle of that. Let's do Blast Processing. Now, I don't exactly know where this one's going to end up, but... I know some people love this level. There are parts about it that are good because it's really good practice for Wave at the beginning to get used to Wave. It's not a good Wave level to start with. I think Problematic's the best Wave level to start with. And I should probably make a 9 circles tier list too, because that might be a good idea, but I'm starting off with Robtop levels. Overall, with Blast Processing, I think it was good, but I don't think it's S or A, and I don't think it's quite B. It might be C tier, but I don't think it's quite at D tier because, like, it's not bad. The gameplay is still great, just, I don't think it's quite B tier. I do think it honestly goes into a solid C, but it's definitely not like A or S for me. I didn't enjoy this experience as much as as much as Clutter Funk or XStep. Well, actually saying that, I enjoyed it more because it was a little easier, but the thing is those XStep and Clutter Funk were very rewarding to beat. I mean, Clutter Funk for me wasn't that hard, but some people found it really difficult, and that's kind of why people would put it at, like, a low spot. Overall, with Blast Processing, I think it's a solid C, so I'll keep it there. Next up, I guess we should do one that I hate. What's the level at it? Okay, it's one of these two. I don't know if you can see my mouse. It's either Time Machine or Cycles. It's one of the two. I don't like these levels. I don't like Time Machine. I like Time Machine the least, so we'll do Time Machine first. So Time Machine is definitely under a C tier. It's one of these 3. You guys are probably hating me right now, but I hated Time Machine. The difficulty of the level is good, like, for, like, a solid 8-star, right, for the overall difficulty. Not 8-star, it's, like, 7-star, for the Robtop levels or whatever. I think you get 8 stars for beating it, so we'll call it 8-star. But the thing with this level is that there are so many annoying triple spikes. I feel like the triple spikes are more annoying than Cycles, just a little bit. They're around the same. But even then, the gameplay in Cycles was actually better. Time Machine's probably my least favorite Robtop level, though, just because it's, like, the least consistent for me. I can't do this level first try. I mean, I can do it first try sometimes, but then there are times it takes me, like, 50 attempts to do it. Not 50, but, like, maybe 15 attempts. Like, I can do all the Robtop levels in a generally quick time. But this one's the one that just feels it's the least fun for me, and I don't really like the soundtrack either. I'm tempted to put it in E tier, but I feel like people would hate me for that. I mean, even E and D tier are better than a lot of the demons I've done, because, like, because the Robtop levels are still good. Time Machine's still a great level. It's just in comparison to these 5, it's probably E tier. It's not F tier. Like, I don't think any of the Robtop levels are F tier, and I don't know if any of them are... Actually, I have a couple ideas for which ones would be an S. But Time Machine for me goes to E tier. And also, if I'm ranking these on soundtrack, then my favorites are probably, like, Cant Let Go and a couple other ones. But I'm not going to put soundtracks a big deal because that's just not necessary to put soundtracks in it. I guess next up we should do Back on Track. I've already been recording for a long time, but whatever. So Back on Track, I'm not too sure if I want to put this in S tier. I don't know if I want to put it in F tier. I don't know where to put it. It's not going to go in F tier, but I don't know. It's about the same as Stereo Madness. I think it's a little bit better. I think Back on Track's a solid A, actually, because the difficulty is consistent. I do feel like this level's easier than Stereo Madness. But the thing is, though, is there aren't as many, like, there's no triple spikes in the level, which makes it so you don't have to stress out about the triple spikes, right? Or I don't think you do. But everything is not, like, too easy, I guess I should say. So I feel like Back on Track is a reasonably decent level. I think it deserves A tier because of its originality, but I don't know if I should make it that high. I think I should put it in B tier because I still like the level. It's still good. I just don't think it's definitely not a D tier, but I don't think it's A or S. So, oh, here's one I don't like. Let's do XStep. So, XStep is, I think I'm actually going to leave it where it is, because XStep is actually one of my least favorite Robtop levels. After getting through levels 1 through 7, I can usually do those in one attempt. But then when we get through Time Machine through XStep, I can't do those first try. I don't know if I've ever done those 3 consistent first try. I mean, I've done... But Clutter Funk in a head, like, all the levels are very good. So I feel like XStep is D tier, I feel like. It's better than Time Machine because it's more consistent. But Time Machine is... There's still some parts, because the Time Machine overall, the objective difficulty is easier than XStep. But XStep is just really annoying for me. I always die at XStep for some reason. So I just don't know. I don't feel comfortable putting it in C or higher. D makes sense for me. Now we're on cycles. A comfortable D tier. I don't like cycles at all. I like it because of the soundtrack. The soundtrack makes it a little bit more enjoyable, possibly bringing it to C tier. And the gameplay's still really easy, but the thing is that the first 30% is, like, annoying, right? Which is going to be taking a lot of time out. But I don't think it's a C tier because the gameplay in these 3 levels are better than Cycles, in my honest opinion. So I personally think Cycles is a D tier. I know people are going to hate me, but I think it's D tier. I think for the next one, I probably should go to one of the OGs. I think I'll do Cant Let Go. Cant Let Go is probably, out of the first 7 levels, is probably my favorite. It's either that one or Base After Base. Cant Let Go, I don't know if it's an S tier. I really don't know if it's an S tier or not. I feel like it deserves S, but it's not quite there. Because there are some parts, like the last 80%, that just feel really inconsistent. It's just hard, though. For being a 6-star, 5-star level, it's pretty tough at 80%. And I die there a lot, which is really frustrating, but the level's not that hard. It's just, like, the first 70%, the last, like, 20% is good. Really well done, and the song really fits with it. This one is probably the first one that's A or S. It's a really high A or a really low S, but I don't think it quite hits S tier. I think A tier is more realistic. I guess next one we'll do Theory of Everything. Theory of Everything was probably one of the first insane levels I beat. It's not one of my favorites because I found it harder than Clutter Funk, actually, because I found it very inconsistent. It's not inconsistent because none of the Robtop levels are, like, overly inconsistent, but this one in particular I just didn't really like. So I feel like Theory of Everything is probably, I don't know, like, maybe, I think it's better than Blast Processing, but I don't think it's as good as Back on Track. I think I'll put it, like, at the end here of C tier because I think it's better than these 3, but I don't think it's as good as these 3, if that makes sense. Probably not, but I think Back on Track, I don't know, Back on Track's B tier for me. But in these 2 levels, they're just, they kind of feel like stepping stones. So I feel like Club Step and Clutter Funk deserve to be in B tier. But because they are very annoying levels. They're probably, like, the 2 most annoying Robtop levels, apart from, what's another annoying one? Besides, like, Time Machine and Cycles for me, but they're not that hard, right? So, but, like, those beginning levels aren't that hard. But these 2 are kind of like the ones that reach a harder difficulty, so I feel like Clutter Funk and Club Step, like, they're just stepping stones. So I feel like they're good levels, anyway. Theory of Everything, I think I agree with the C tier for now, so I think we're going to go with that. Electromagnet Adventures, that's definitely A tier. Electromagnet Adventures gameplay is probably my favorite out of all the Robtop levels. It's one of the best Robtop levels for gameplay, I think. But it's just such a good level. Like, I love the soundtrack, I love the way it flows with the gameplay, and the gameplay's just a lot of fun. And I feel like it's really, really consistent. So this level in particular, I think, deserves its A tier. I don't know if it's better than Cant Let Go, but because I like these levels a lot. These are 2 of the best Robtop levels in my honest opinion. And obviously, also I'm just going to put Club Step ahead of Clutter Funk in this kind of format because I prefer Club Step over Clutter Funk because the feeling of beating it is so relieving. But Electromagnet Adventures, I agree with A tier. I feel like it makes sense why it's A tier because it's a very, very fun level. So yeah, A tier for sure. I guess we'll do Geometrical Dominator next. This is like the next I think this is the first 2.0 level, aside from Deadlocked. So Deadlocked and Geometrical Dominator were the first 2.0 levels when 2.0 came out. Blast Processing and Theory of Everything 2 were 1.9. But Geometrical Dominator was... I really liked the gameplay up until the dark part. I mean, I still like the dark part, but... yeah, this one's... I think it's a B tier, because there's nothing wrong with Geometrical Dominator. And everything's great. Like, I don't know if it's quite A tier, but it's a really fun level, though. I think it's, like, better than Clutter Funk, actually. So I think I'll keep it here, but the feeling, I think Club Step is just one of the best Robtop levels anyway, so I don't think that Geometrical Dominator is better than Club Step. So I'm going to put Geometrical Dominator in B tier. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me. I know a lot of people think it's A tier, or S tier even, but in my opinion it's B tier because there are just some parts about it that, like, the whole level itself is, like, almost an A tier, I think. But but there are a couple parts, like the dark part, and I think that the ship section at the beginning and some of the beginning parts as well, and some of the ending parts just feel weird to me for some reason. Because, I mean, I've beaten hard demons before, so it's, like, not that big of a deal. I'm actually working on Ultra Drivers. Stay tuned for that. I don't know if I'll upload the progress video, but I got to 62% on Ultra Drivers, so I'm getting there. Like 3,600 attempts. I don't know what's happening with the brightness. Forgive me. But yeah, so I can beat these levels relatively easily, and this level just doesn't feel like A tier material, but I do think it's B tier material. It's a really fun level, so I think it's B tier. I think next up we'll do Polargeist, because I haven't done the easy ones yet. So Polargeist is not as good as Back on Track, but it's better than Stereo Madness. Actually, is it? I mean, this is another one that doesn't have as many triple spikes in it, so it's not as annoying. And I do think it's better than Dry Out. I mean, is it? I don't know. I think I'm just going to stick it there because Polargeist is also very similar to Stereo Madness and Dry Out. I feel like the levels overall are very similar, and I feel like they're both really good. Sorry, my light's flickering. I just figured out why the lights are going weird. But yeah, overall, Dry Out, I feel like it deserves this placement, so we're going to keep Dry Out here. Next up, I don't know. Let's do electrodynamics. Now, electrodynamics, that's S tier, no doubt about it. I don't know if people are going to disagree with me on that. Electrodynamics for me is the most fun Robtop level and the most rewarding. I know Club Step's probably the most rewarding Robtop level out of all of them for me, but electrodynamics was just such a hunk achievement to me, because I remember when I used to joke around. Now, I didn't even joke. Like, I tried to be literal. I was like, my hardest demon's artificial ascent, bloodlust, bloodbath, subsonic. You know, I made those lies because I wanted to be good at the game, and I didn't realize how much of a stepping stone this particular level was. So overall, I feel like Electrodynamics deserves S tier for just being a rewarding, amazing soundtrack, amazing gameplay, and amazing music sync. The Electrodynamics for me is S tier, for sure. I guess we should do another good one. Hexagon Force is another good one. This one's definitely an A tier for me. The thing is, with Hexagon Force, it's really, really fun gameplay. I feel like the scenery's a little bit boring, unlike Electrodynamics and Electroman Adventures, but still, you can't be too picky. This level introduces the duels, and I do like playing with dual gameplay, unless it's really annoying, like when you play Abandoned Machine. I was practicing it a little bit. It would definitely be my hardest level, but I don't really like it. I prefer Ditched Machine, but that's because it's easier. Abandoned Machine's just a really hard duel, right? But Hexagon Force introduced it, and the duels were really fun in Hexagon Force. And there were many different ways, there's two main ways you can enter through with the ball duel, but they were a lot of fun. Hexagon Force is a very, very fun level. Just Electrodynamics' gameplay felt more fun, but Hexagon Force is still a great level. It's still on par with Electroman Adventures and Cant Let Go. Base After Base is also a good level. I honestly think it's A tier as well. It's not as good as these three levels, but I think it's better, like, the gameplay's better than all of these. I think Base After Base is A tier, because I don't know why Base After Base is A tier. I just feel like the gameplay is really fun. I find Base After Base a nice, fun level. The upside down part's easier than Dry Out, and the whole level, in my opinion, is easier than Dry Out, or at least it feels more consistent. But Base After Base is a really, really fun level. And I think because of that, it deserves A tier, but it's not as, I don't think the gameplay's as memorable as these three levels in A tier, and definitely not as memorable as Electrodynamics. That was a big mumble right there. Let's do, I don't know what I want to do. Let's do Finger Dash, the only 2.1 level in Robtop history. Finger Dash is fun gameplay, and that would put it around here. Nope, definitely not there. It would put it in around A or B tier. The gameplay's definitely not as fun as Electrodynamics, and already, I don't think the gameplay's A tier yet. And B tier, I think it's definitely, like, verging, I don't even know, because there are some annoying parts. The level looks great. The level looks incredible. It's not D tier, but I do think it's a solid C. but at the same time, I don't know if I feel comfortable with that, because this was a very, very good, well-made level. I'm honestly tempted to put it in A or B, but, you know, I think I'm going to put it in C tier, just because I don't like it as much as, like, Geometrical Dominator or Clutter Funk. I feel like those two levels were really, really fun and rewarding. I mean, not Geometrical Dominator, but Clubstep and Clutter Funk were rewarding. Finger Dash, when it came out, it wasn't that hard. So I kind of feel like if this level was just if the gameplay was fun or not. And the gameplay delivered on its part, but there are just some things that I don't really like. Like the 3 times spider at the end was kind of annoying. The spider in the middle was great, but the spider at the end was a little bit annoying to me. But the level was still good, nonetheless. I didn't hate this level. So I can't believe I saved the 2 demons in Jumper. I guess we'll do Jumper next. So Jumper is interesting because I remember I kept dying at 90% over and over again, because that's like the most annoying part of Jumper. But after you get consistent at it, it's one of the most fun Robtop levels. It's not S tier, but A tier makes sense, I think, for Jumper. I think that's a reasonable place to put Jumper. Now, I think A tier is reasonable for Jumper. Actually, maybe not. It's a high B, low A. It's lower than these 4 levels here. But Jumper's still fun, you know? It's still a fun level, sight-readable level, and a happy family-friendly level. So yeah, I think I'm going to give it A tier, because I do like Jumper. Next up, I guess we'll do Deadlocked. I don't know. Which one do you guys want me to do first? You probably want me to do Theory of Everything 2, because you want Deadlocked to be really high. These 2 levels are very, very similar in memorability. So I'm just going to do Deadlocked first, because I don't know if I prefer... I think I prefer Deadlocked, because when I first played these levels, I thought Theory of Everything 2 was harder, which is interesting, because it just felt more consistent. Like, Deadlocked has 2, for me, really, really hard parts, which are the dual wave and the dual wave at the end and the wave at the beginning were really tough for me. The wave at the beginning just takes consistency, which you'll get over time. The dual wave, though, is, like, really annoying, and I think the dual wave at the end, it's still fun, but it's C tier for me for the dual. But the level is really fun. Deadlocked is a very, very fun level. Overall, I think it's better than these levels here. I don't think it's as good as Hexagon Force or Electromagnet Adventures, but I do think it's, like, in between this. So, and I also didn't notice this at the bottom. Do I prefer XStep over Cycles? I think so. So I think the order so far is right. Finger Dash is actually better than these. I'd say it's there overall. So yeah, I'll put Finger Dash there. Next up is Theory of Everything 2. So a lot of people are probably wondering where this is going to go, because it's I don't know if it's C tier. A lot of stuff belongs in C tier, to be fair, because C tier is a very popular place to put it. But I'm tempted to put it in a higher level, like not S tier, but A or B tier is where I'm kind of thinking it's going to go. Now, this level for me, I don't think I prefer it as much as Deadlocked, but I think I like it more than Clubstep, though. This level actually isn't as more rewarding than that, because it's pretty easy, but the feeling of beating a demon really quickly is a rewarding feeling. So I feel like Theory of Everything 2 is a B tier. Is it better than these? I think in terms of my feeling, I feel like Theory of Everything 2 belongs just one step behind Clubstep. Now, I think this will complete my tier list, because there we go, all the Robtop levels are rated. Now, overall, I know there are probably going to be some people there are going to be definitely disagreements here, because there's only one in S tier, and I know there are so many people that don't agree with that. But I liked a lot of these levels. I did. Okay, I liked all these levels. But, to be fair, there are a couple things that I prefer over other stuff, but I agree with all of these opinions overall, for me. Time Machine, definitely my least favorite Robtop level. Electrodynamics, my favorite. But Cant Let Go, Electromagnet Adventures, Hexagon Force are 3 also very, very close, second, third, fourth. And the other levels after it, up to Back on Track, are still good. I mean, and everything in C tier is still decent, and everything in D tier or under, I just don't really prefer the Robtop level. But still, all the Robtop levels are great, so please don't take offense to this if your favorite Robtop level is an S tier. I'm sorry about that. But overall, these are my opinions, and I'd understand if you disagree. So please do leave that in the comments of what you honestly think where they line up. You can get this from tiermaker.com, and you can create your own tier list if you want. And I'm not going to really leave it in the link because I'm not good enough to do that. But you guys can look up tierlistmaker.com or tiermaker.com on your computer or your phone, and you can create your own tier list there. So please do leave in the comments other tier lists that you want to see. This has been my impression on the Robtop levels. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave suggestions for more videos just like this one. If you want to see me upload G-Dash more frequently, please do leave a like and subscribe on this, Whoa. Please do like this video if you want to see more G-Dash videos on the channel, because I know I don't upload them as frequently. But yeah, if you enjoy all my videos or most of my videos, please do hit the subscribe button for more amazing videos just like this one. So yeah, of course guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.